Welcome to the Blender video tutorial update for the Snowman project. This is assuming you've already had done the intro assignment earlier, which gives you familiarity with the program. This is an update to the former 7-year-old tutorial where the buttons are all different coloring, so it might throw you off. So here's the update for 3.0. To get started, you're going to want to click off that menu screen. And to make a snowman, well, we're not going to use a cube, so let's delete that cube. You select the cube and press Del on the keyboard, D-E-L, or delete if you have it, or right click and you can do delete as well. So there's a few ways to delete a cube. Next, you're going to go to add mesh and you're going to use the UV sphere. Now the UV sphere, when you first lay it down, you have options to increase the amounts of segments. So this is sometimes good to do, add more segments so that in rings so that you can have a little more detail. Don't go too hog wild. There's another way to smooth it down. You can close this menu. Alright, now you can zoom in and look at the sphere. Notice it's halfway down this plane. Well, let's put it above the plane so we can get a sense of what ground is to help us develop this snowman. Next, you're going to do is duplicate this ball, right? You're going to make 2 of them. So we're going to go Shift D and then enter. Shift D then enter. That way we get the blue arrow to help us raise the ball. Now notice I'm having a little orientation trouble because it's a little higher. Well, I could hold Shift wheel mouse down and pull it down so I can get a little more kind of directly in front of it like that, right? So Shift wheel mouse down so I can get a little bit higher there. Wheel mouse down, if you remember, is rotate around. So now we know a snowman has a second snowball is usually smaller. You could use the scale button, or how about just S on the keyboard. S on the keyboard is the fastest way to get a general scale of your object. So we're going to go ahead and scale that down. Shift D, enter again, raise up this ball, and we're going to scale that down. So we're going to hit S, and I might bring a little higher because you kind of want it to be, somewhere in that range. Now there we go. We got ourselves a start of a snowman. All right. Now we need to give it some, top hat, right? Some hat on top. So hold Shift wheel mouse down to kind of get a little taller on your view. This is optional, right? See how I get a little taller so I can see what I'm doing. And now you're going to go to object mode, add mesh. We'll do a cylinder. So I'll bring that cylinder up to the top there. We'll scale it down with an S key, get it to some resemblance of what would a top hat look like. All right. So that's pretty quick and easy, right? If you kind of mess up, this way and this way, well, you got to fix it. All right. Same idea. You can increase the amounts of detail, but we're not worried about that right now. We'll do that a little bit later. So now you're going to do is Shift D, enter again, and we're going to make one that's a little bit. You're going to hold scale. You're going to make it a little bit bigger, believe it or not. A little bit bigger, but then you're going to use the scale tool button to squish it down. So what you get is the rim, right? So the idea here is to just duplicate that particular cylinder, which you already have. So you just duplicate it, make it a little bigger, and then squish it down. So S for scale the whole thing, and then squish it down with the scale button. I might even scale that up a little bit more because I want a little bit more of a rim. There you go. All right, let's say we think about the eyes. With the eyes, well, you have a few mesh items here that make most sense. The icosphere. It's basically looks like a rock or a gem, if you will. Now, before I go ahead and put it on there and scale it and all that fun stuff, let's use the technique of edit mode. Remember edit mode? Edit mode allows us to edit the object. So I'm going to just kind of distort it, make it look more random because, coal, if you want, is not perfect. So let's randomize this a little bit. Maybe make this this face here a little S for scale, a little bigger or smaller. Let's make it just kind of wham. Let's scale this one up. Just gonna mess around with that a little bit. All right, so go back to object mode, right? Object mode, you can move the object around. Press S on the keyboard, scale it down. Make sure you're in object mode, okay, when you're doing these sorts of things, okay? So I'm scaling it down. I'm gonna keep it scaling it down to about, a little bit like that. I'm gonna push it in front like that, kind of squish it into, let's see if I can pull this off. Let's see, I gotta rotate around, there we go. And you want to get it kind of right there, kind of just squished into the head. Now you're thinking, oh, I gotta do that all over again? No, just do Shift D, Enter. Duplicate. Anytime you can copy, paste, or duplicate, and use the arrows. The arrows are the best because you can move it straight across. You don't have to try to find it back onto the body there. Do it again. Shift D, Enter. And this time we're gonna put it lower, and we're gonna actually make it smaller. So scale that down just major Ouija. So I'm gonna scale that down like that, just a little bit more. That's probably good. I'll do a little bit more because I kind of want it smaller. There we go. And I'm gonna Shift D, Enter once again. I'm gonna move it over this way, and I'm probably gonna pull it out of its face a little bit. See how I did that? Okay. And maybe a little lower, right? Because you wanna, you get the idea. Shift D, Enter again, and then you're gonna move this over here and maybe pull it out just a little bit more this way. So you get the idea. So you basically want to do is you kind of want to, keep that going. So feel free to rotate these around so that their randomness is different all the way around, because you don't want it to be all the same. You kind of want to make them look a little different each time. It's just paying attention to detail. All right. So now you want to color these. You want to kind of make these dark and this white, and then the black hat. Well, what we're gonna do here is still in object mode, okay? In object mode, stay in object mode. We're gonna come down to the globe right here. The bottom, sorry, it's a ball. The globe is there. Don't click on the globe. That's world. We don't want that. No, we want this one here. It's called the globe, the materials icon. And you're gonna press New. And we'll choose base color of black. And to get black, what you do is, because that's all color, you're going to come down like that. You're going to make it black. Now, we don't see it yet, and if you remember from your intro, we need to change the view to something like that so that we can see the coloring, we can see the light. Okay, so we'll use this one here, and we can tweak our light, move our light around a little bit. Let's move our light around. We're going to make better lighting later. But there you go. So you can see what's happening there. Now, for the rest of them, really easy. I don't have to do new. I can select from my previous color, right? So it's good to label this too. I'll call this one black, just so I know that that's what I want it to be. So it's material, so it could be anything, but we're going to call it black because we want to be certain that we're selecting it. Now you could have added the black before you duplicated them. That would have been a lot easier, but whatever. So then we're going to finish it off with the hat. We're going to go black and, of course, black. All right. So now I promised you we'd smooth this over, right? Because all you see is this ridiculous looking squares. To smooth over any one of these objects, don't smooth over the rocks. Smooth only over the snow and the hat, of course. So go to the object of the snowball, and we're going to do is go to modifier, add modifier, and we're going to choose subdivision surface. Now see how it made a tighter looking pattern? Well, we can, under view count, we can add more, okay? And render, this is when you actually render it out. We want to crank that up also at least 4. Don't go much higher than that. Go to 6 would be great. So 4 and 6, how about that? So now we're going to click on this one, and we're going to do the same thing. Again, we could have done this to the first snowball, but hey, practice is good, right? So subdivision, right? Subdividing, how much are we going to subdivide it? We're going to go to 4. You can also type the number in, so 6 here, right? I'm going to go one more time. I'm going to go to the wrench. I'm going to smooth it over with this subdivision. I'm going to go 4 and 6. Alright, so notice what we did. We just kind of chopped everything up into a little tiny powdery looking look. The hat, probably want to do that too. So let's go ahead and add a subdivision. Whoa, that didn't work out. That worked for the ball, but it didn't work for the hat because the hat has different geometry to it, right? The ball is a nice and easy way to smooth things over. So what we can do is, instead of using subdivision, we can X that, take it off. So I turned it off, you know, we took it off there. Whoop, I took it off there by accident. Let's put that back on. Undo. What we're going to do is we're going to click on the hat. We're going to add smooth. Try that one. So now you can see the smoothness right there. Repeat factor of, whoa, that doesn't work. For this one, I'm going to show you a different technique. Instead of adding a modifier, what we're going to do is we're going to right click on it and do shade smooth. This is a fast way to smooth something over. It does make it look a little more powdery, so we have to do some work to it. See that shadows right there? What we're going to do is we're going to click on back onto the material black here, and we're going to dial it down a little bit. And what I mean by that is the let's see, specular, that's what it is. This is how much shine is on those on that hat. So we're going to take down that shine. It's a little too shimmery for us, so we're going to take that down. All right. So we have the hat, we have the snowballs, we're all set to go, but we need arms. What about arms? Ooh. Well, we could generate sticks. Okay, definitely you can use a bunch of cubes and make sticks, and you know, that's an option, but let's look at a different approach here. Let's try this one. You're going to be in object mode. You're going to go to add mesh and try the torus. Yes, the torus. This is a donut shaped object. And what I like to do here is, if you can imagine the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer show, right? You have chubby arms. They're like, you know, kind of like snow-packed arms, not sticks. And that's kind of a fun way to make arms. And I gotta tell you right now, if you try to 3D print sticks, they're harder to print and stay in place, whereas you 3D print something like this, it stays a lot better. So what you do is you kind of make it so that it looks like it has shoulders. So you're gonna kind of have to, takes a little practice, you know, rotate this a little bit, and then push it back so that this gap here, where his hands should be, is kind of maybe you scale it back just a little bit. So like let's try that, and then move this back. So there's a separation there. It takes a little practice, a little getting used to. I think I got it. I can't see it very well. I can go back to this mode so I can see. That's probably a better way to work. So remember, I clicked on this mode here, and now I can work this a little bit better. I'm going to scale this out like that. There we go. Yeah, I'm happy about that. Now I'm going to smooth it over, right? I got to make it look a little better. So hang on, let me just put this back here. There we go. There's the arms. Let's try that. Yeah. All right. So there are the arms. You might want to tweak it a little bit. I'm having trouble. All right. So let's smooth it over. You're going to go to the wrench, add modifier, and we're going to do subdivision surface once again, and we'll do a 4-6 combo. There we go. Let's see what it looks like. Pretty good. Now the lighting, like I said, is a little wonky, so let's move the light around and say, okay, we need to add more light because this is kind of lame. Let's go add light. We'll add a point light again. Why do I suggest point light at the moment is because we want to have control, right? We want to have control of our lighting. This green emblem here allows us to select the light properties and crank up the power. So watch the power grow. I can make it so it looks like this little cast shadow, you know, reflectiveness on over here. So I'm going to do that maybe over here like this. Okay. There is the option of sun, right? See, sun. That is pretty crazy to play with. It does some weird things. You know, it's way too bright. It's not meant to be used in this small area. So I don't recommend it. Spotlight's kind of fun, right? But you know, that's not what we're doing here. We're not doing a spotlight. We're doing a point light. Let's see what area light does. Well, area light actually does pretty well. A little bit better. Maybe try an area light. That's fine. I do believe you can rotate area lights. Yes, you can. And you can scale area lights. Yes, you can. So there's that. You can use that, which is similar to a spotlight. So I got my light. I got it rendered out. Remember, if you downplay your rendering, it'll look like that. Or wireframe, it looks like that. So let's make a ground for it. Let's make it look kind of cool with a ground. So for that, make sure you're in object mode. And we're going to add a new mesh. We're going to go add new mesh, and we're going to choose plane. So a plane is basically a flat piece of paper. And we'll press S for scale, and we'll scale it up. Sort of like that. Scale it up. Alright. So we have a flat plane that we also want it to be white, don't we? So we're going to select the same white. So let's go to our materials and choose the white from the snowman. See what I did there? It does have a sheen to it I'm not happy about, so we're going to go down to specular and we're going to dial that back. Hopefully. We're going to increase the roughness. There we go. Because that roughness factor changes how the snow looks, right? I think that's about all we want to do. So we got this going on. And we're going to have to increase our lighting, of course, because it doesn't look so good. This is at 300 watts. Let's do 1,000 watts. That's a little better. Put the light up higher. You get the idea. You can tweak this out later on, but for now we're just kind of getting it set. Let's put that up to 3,000 watts. There we go. That's nice. That feels more realistic. All right. Now the snow, we want it kind of be bumpy and wavy. To do that, you're going to click on that plane in edit mode, right click, and you're going to subdivide. And what that does is it makes 4 quadrants. You right click again, you can do subdivide again, and it makes 4 more quadrants. You do that again. See how I'm doing that? Every single time it gets more and more detail. So we want something like about that. Okay, you could have dialed it in here, but I didn't show you that. For subdivide, you could have said, oh, I want this to be that many, right? So let's not get too complicated right now. Let's just, you know, kind of make a grid such as this. And because what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you select, say, 1 or 2 for sampling reasons, and hold shift and select another one, and then hold it up and see what happens. See how it does that? It kind of like pulls it up, and then you're like, okay, well, what if I want to select many more of these at once? There's a new button for you all. A new button, a new fun button. It's the C. Just press C on the keyboard, and notice how it makes this circle on my cursor. This circle, I can make it bigger and I can make it smaller. Well, the cool part about that is you can draw what you want to select. So let's say it's select all these back here, and then I say, okay, I want to lift that up. You have to choose escape so you can get onto the arrow and pull the arrow up. Alright, so you can I gotta do it again. So C, you got this, you know, painter. So I'm going to paint this area here with a small brush, so make it much smaller, and then I'm going to escape the escape key, and then I'm going to pull this up like this. So I'm making like these mountains. I'm like, all right, that's kind of cool, but I still don't like how jagged they are. Well, can I use subdivision? Can I? Well, let's see. Let's go click on that. So I'm on my let's go back to object mode. Okay, so it's a little better in object mode, by the way, but I'm gonna go to my modifier and I'm gonna say, wait a minute, what if I did subdivision? Ooh. I can crank that up to 4 like I did before, and I cranked it up to 6, and now I got this nice milky smooth surface. Alright, so I don't like how my snowman has, it's kind of like floating up there, and it should be kind of squishy around here, right? So I'm going to modify this spot a little bit more. So I'm going to go edit mode. I'm going to find this one, these four that are here. I'm going to hold shift, or no, I'm going to hit C. I'm going to paint those like I showed you earlier. Escape, and I'm going to pull those up just a little bit like that, just to kind of make it look like it's part of that. Okay. Object mode. You can kind of see where it's going. Excuse me. All right, so I got the waviness, huh? Well, let's say we want it to be a little pond here. Maybe he's sitting on a pond. I don't know. Let's see what we can do. Let's add an object, a mesh. This time, let's add a circle. All right, circle. All right, not a plane. We'll do a circle. And oh yeah, F for face. No, okay. Hold on, let me get this right. Nope, I did it wrong. No. Don't do a circle. Do add mesh, and let's do a plane, believe it or not. And what you're going to do with that plane is you're going to then add your modifier of subdivision surface, and see how it rounds it off, because it's that kind of geometry. So I'm going to make that one about a 4 and a 6 here. And of course I'm going to scale this in the shape of a pond. Well, let's change the color because it's not making sense at the moment. I'm going to go to the material, and I'm going to add a material of color off blue, maybe something like this, you know, pond color. Actually, I like a deeper blue. I don't know. You decide. And then I'm going to stretch this out, stretch this out, stretch this out. I'm going to push it down somewhere in there like that. And then I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense, so why don't I just keep going like that, like that. So now I got a kind of like a little island here, if you will. So you have to decide on how you build up the snow around it versus how where the snow is what your end result's going to look like. Oh my goodness, I forgot the nose. Hello. The nose, yes, that would be a cone. So object mode, add a cone, or I'm sorry, mesh, cone, yep. And then we're going to lift it up towards the head, rotate it on its side like this, shrink it down with an S for scale, move it out yonder. Alright, but it's not supposed to look like that. It's supposed to look a little more squished or smaller on one end, right? Because that's a little too rounded here. So this is how you manipulate the size of this part of the cone. In edit mode, you choose the face of the cone here. See? This face here. And so it's selected, right? I'm going to hit period so I can get there. See? Get there. So I got it. See? I got this face here. I'm going to go S for scale. I'm going to scale that down like that. There. That looks a little bit more like what I want. Back to object mode. And I'm going to, well, make it orange. So let's go. Orange. Orange. You smart. There we go. And push it back to the head like that. So I got myself a snowman. Alright. Tweak it out however you want. Now you can add some more information, more things out there like trees. Now I can show you low poly tree real quick, kind of fun to do. So then you go to object mode, you add a mesh cone, believe it or not. You put it over here, you know, like I don't know, let's put it over way out here. And you make it green. So you go, okay, I'm gonna make this one green, and you do like a deep green, which is pull this down to make it deep green. Once you get that established, you can shift D enter, make a second one right above the first one, and scale it down with an S key real quick. Boom, easy tree. I like to duplicate a lot, so I'm gonna click on the one below it, shift click the top one. So now let's see how I got a tree going on here. Shift D enter again, and I'm going to then drag that out over here. So I got my second tree going on. Do that all day long. All right. Well, it's up to you now. You're gonna add more stuff, so think about what you know and what you can come up with for this project. Now you can see the sampling of my previous tutorial. I had some gift boxes because it was around the holiday. That's optional. You can make like tree logs lying down, so you go S for this, scale that down, scale that out. You know, like this could be a log of sorts just hanging out over here. Rotate it, you know, stick it in the snow like that, and color it, you know, add a new color. Alright, so this is something where you start to go, okay, what else can I make for the scene? Alright. More advanced, you want to make branches and things like that, or for example the arms would be the similar way. Let's say I take this log and I go edit mode and I say, alright, I'm going to take the knife, cut myself a little area right here, something like that, hit enter. I'm going to select the face here, hold shift, this one and that one, because I want to get all of that. I'm going to do E for extrude. I'm going to scale that down with S. And then I'm going to move it over here a little bit. And then I'm going to go E for extrude. And then I'm going to move it over this way. And I'm going to S for scale. See what I did there? Press period to focus again. So period focuses, right? I'm going to go E for extrude. And I'm going to move it over this way. I'm going to scale it down a little bit. I'm going to go, all right, that's enough of that. I'm going to cut some more over here. I'm going to take my knife. And I'm going to cut over here. I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to cut here, to here, to here, to here, then back to there, enter. And I'm going to get in there. I'm going to select that and hold shift and select that. And I'm going to say, all right, E for extrude. I'm going to move that up a little bit. I'm going to E for extrude. And I'm going to move that this way, I guess. Maybe I'm going to rotate. This is interesting. Rotate the end. Then extrude it. What is mad happening here? Whoa. Alright, so it's low poly, but you know, if you kind of do a little bit of it, maybe shrink the whole object down, object mode, shrink the whole object down so it doesn't look so low poly. So like you do that, maybe stretch, you know, I don't know. And then you duplicate these and you drop them around. So shift D, enter. You put more branches on it, it looks more cool, right? So make sure you put more branches on it. Maybe, I don't know, rotate it around, throw it down, make a mess, I don't know. Alright, good luck. That is pretty much update of this tutorial. Let's see, you can see in this one here I had some gift boxes and such. But, you know, it's pretty much the same. If you want to go back to the old school one, you can. But this one is pretty much the same. Work on your lighting. You want to add some lighting. Or text. That's right, text. If you want to say Happy Holidays, which is not the holidays right now, you could also add text. All right, and text is pretty much an object as well. So I can say, this is extra, this is bonus. It's edit mode. You got to go edit mode. And then you can type. Let me get down to it. I'm just going to put snow, right? Snow, right? That's what I'm going to do. Object mode. I'm going to rotate that up like this. All right. And then what's interesting about text is when you're in edit mode and you have your text selected like this. Let's do that again. I think it's double click. No, I was on the wrong one. Object mode. Make sure I'm on that. There we go. Edit mode. When I'm on that, I believe there is a text. Yep, there it is. Text button right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose extrude. So which is right here. Geometry. Extrude. And I'm going to make it thicker. There. That's kind of fun. So I got extruded text that I can change the color of. You know. So I'll do something like that. Alright. And actually I'm going to add exclamation mark because that's cool. There we go. Snow. Object mode. I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it down. I'm going to move it forward. Sort of like that. Maybe. There we go. So I got the word snow there. And then lighting, of course. Oh, one more thing is the world, right? Because we got this gray, boring background. If I click on the world here, I can change the background. I can change the color. So let's just do color, and let's make it like a soft blue, maybe. I don't know. Kind of make it look more gorgeous than it was. Yeah, like something like that. You can kind of get the idea. But look what happens. See how it bleeds on there? So that is a problem. That is a problem. Is a slight problem. And I think you can do is change the, go back to material, change that white. That's what we got to do. We're gonna go back to the white, and I believe subsurface color. No, I don't want to change that. Leave that alone. What I want to do is go down to roughness. Alright, well, I'm kind of stumped there because it's not doing what I want it to do, so we're going to just, if you don't like it, you press X and it goes away, but then we got the black there. So if I go new, we'll get the gray. Okay, so that's what's happening. Alright, so let's go back to blue that I had, which is kind of cool, but a little too crazy. And then what I'm going to do is light it a little better. So I'm going to go to this here, move it over. No, that's not what it's doing. I think the best solution is to duplicate the light, Shift D, and try to knock down some of those shadows. So something like in there, that might be one of the better solutions for this. Again, you can duplicate lights and you can change the brightness of them. The water does not look very good. Let's click on the water, material on the water. Let's change the specular on that, because that's a little intense. Let's bring that back. Let's increase the roughness for that. Alright, there's more to be done, but there you go. Good luck. Save your project, don't forget. Make sure it's under the D drive. Make sure you made a folder for your class. And we'll call it snowman.blend. Oops, I already have the dot blend. Look at that. Make sure there's only one dot. Alright, save. When you're ready to render, take pictures of your product, the way to do that, if you forgot, is to press press 0 on the keyboard, on the numpad, right? So press 0. And you get the camera here, but the camera doesn't change or move by default, right? So you move your mouse, that's what happens. So what you have to do is you come over to this right side little hidden window. Yes, it's a hidden window. I'll do it again. It's a hidden window. You go to View. There's a View tab there. And you click this box here which says Camera to View, right? So now this is what happens. So let's close up that window and let's get back to it. And shift wheel mouse down, roll it, zoom in. Find yourself a good position for, taking screenshots or whatever. But we're not doing screenshots, we're doing render. So here we go. Now you press F12 on the keyboard. Ding. And you get a full render result coming up. Alright, there's the full render. That is going to be a 6 level quality. And you're going to do image, save, or save as. So we're going to go save. And this could be in your folder. And notice it's a PNG file. It's PNG. It's a picture file. It's not a project file. So we're going to keep the .png, and we're going to type the words Snow1, because we're going to take more than one picture, and then you're going to go save. Now this is its own window. See that? We're going to close that. We're going to move around, get another angle. So I'm going to do this cool down up shot right here. Sort of like that. Because it looks kind of cool. I'm going to hit F12. And there you have it. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can see. And I'm going to go image, save. And this time, instead of Snow 1, I'm going to call it Snow 2. So I'm going to go Snow 2. Save. Alright, actually I cut off his head a little bit. I think I would redo that. But anyway, so that's what you do, and you got this, you know, extra window that you then close. And back to it. Now to get rid of the camera look, you just press 0 again on the keyboard. So make sure your mouse is hanging around here. 0 on the keyboard. See, so on off, 0 0 0 0 0, and that's how you do it. Now you're back to editing if you want to edit. 0 gets you back to the camera. You can move the camera around, make a new screenshot, which is F12. Image, save, call it Snow 3. See how it's red like that? That's saying that you already have one. So we want to make that Snow 3. Click save. There we go. You are done.